Hi, I'm Marie Laveria, and my channel is called Living a Simple Life and Finding Your Rhythm, LLC. And today I want to talk about my expansion into podcasts. And if you're interested in hearing me on longer versions of my information, of my story, you can check me out in the same title. It's Living a Simple Life and Finding Your Rhythm, LLC. And my podcast is able to be heard on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeart Radio Podcast, and Spotify. So I today will be taking an excerpt. I've only have two podcasts. So my first podcast is very similar to a lot of the videos I put out already. So I'm not going to bore you with the same information. But the second podcast, I have information that's a little different. And I talk about the many years it took me to figure out that I had choices in my life. And I pondered why that took me so long. It was like in my 50s before I figured that out. And I realized that my parents and my grandparents never taught me that we had choices in life. They more or less told me that as a girl, as a woman, I needed to get married, have children. That was it. When I was in my high school years, my parents told me that when I asked them about college, that girls don't go to college. They get married and have children. So my information was given to me from people that I trusted, and I wasn't one to question authority too much in some of those days when I was younger. Not the same now. Anyway, so because I was brought up that way and told that information, my belief was that, we have our roles, but we don't have choices. So later, I just want to say that, beliefs can get in the way of our thinking about positive possibilities. Beliefs can get in the way. Now, I'm not talking about religious beliefs here. I'm talking about beliefs about the world, our life beliefs, about how things are supposed to operate and work. Sometimes they get in the way of positive possibilities. They block us from thinking. For instance, I never thought I could live by the ocean because it was too expensive. And I had a block about that. And it took me years to get rid of that. So we have choices is what I want to tell the world. It's so important to know that. And it's important to change our beliefs if they get in the way of us moving forward. So they call limiting beliefs. I have several of them. Over the years, I've had a lot of them. Lately, I got rid of the one that stops me from having money problems. I always thought I had not enough money to pay the bills because I was brought up in a family where my parents shared their problems of financial shortage with the kids, especially me being the eldest of 6. And it made me nervous. And as I've always had a problem over the years of worrying about having enough money, which caused me never to have enough money. So one day I thought enough of that. I wanted to change that whole thing about worrying about money. So I stopped. I thought I had a choice of stopping, and I did. And money started flowing. It's amazing how our beliefs will stop us from having what we want. And that's why my second podcast, the title is, What Do We Want Our Lives to Look Like, and How Do We Get There From Here? And that's what I talked about. Those are the nuggets. I'm bringing out the nuggets in this quick video here of my podcast that was longer. So I can't tell you what happened to me to open me up to all this wonderful movement in my life, except writing affirmations, trying to change things. But one day, I decided to have a talk with God, and I told God very forcefully, enough learning through difficulties. I want quiet and peaceful, happy living from now on. And I was very, very strong in my words when I said that. And I believe that maybe perhaps these were my powerful words that put me on a new path. So let me talk a little bit about God for me. We all have our different beliefs in God and our different versions, but I'll tell you mine. I am not religious, even though I have all kinds of degrees that say I may be, I'm not. I believe in God, and my image of God over the years have changed dramatically. When I was a kid, God was a bearded white man that was mean and judgmental. And as I grew older, my image of God became what it is now, is spirit. And I have a nickname for God as Awesome Goodness, because God is awesome and true goodness, pure goodness. So the other thing that I consider myself is a spiritual person, and that could mean a million things to a million people. I believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. There's a Jesuit priest that wrote a lot of literature, and Pierre Chardin was his name, and he lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s, sorry. And he was a very intelligent man. He was a scientist, he was a writer, he was a teacher. Anyway, he believed that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I just love that quote from him. Our mind, body, and soul are all equal, important, and we have a responsibility to care for all aspects of ourselves. All of ourselves, meaning mind, body, and soul. So that's my little spiritual belief and my belief in God. Just thought I'd share it with you. So getting back to my podcast, that was in my podcast also. I guess I've said pretty much all of the nuggets in my podcast that I haven't said already on YouTube videos. And I will continue writing my podcast, or should I say saying my podcast, delivering my podcasts, and I will always take the nuggets, golden nuggets in there, and come on YouTube and share it with you guys, my viewers. So thank you for listening, and please subscribe if you enjoy my channel, and see you next time.